The alarm bells rang through the giant space station. Red lights flashed in every hallway. Dr. Elena Martinez ran through the metal corridors, her lab coat flowing behind her. She had never seen the council members look so scared. The meeting room was full of alien beings from across the galaxy. Some had scales, others had fur. A few glowed with their own light, but they all shared the same look of fear in their eyes. "The Void Swarm has taken another system," said Council Leader Vorth. His voice was deep and worried. "That makes 12 systems in 2 months. Nothing can stop them." Elena looked at the big screen showing the latest attack. The Void Swarm was like a cloud of metal death. Thousands of robot ships moved together like angry bees. They ate everything in their path. Planets, moons, space stations. Nothing was left behind. "Our best fleets are useless," said General Crix. He was a tall warrior with 4 arms. "The swarm learns from every battle. They copy our weapons and make them better. They fix their ships faster than we can damage them." Elena stood up. Her hands shook a little, but her voice was strong. "I have an idea. It might sound crazy, but I think it could work." The room went quiet. All eyes turned to the human scientist. Elena was one of only 3 humans in the galactic government. Most aliens thought humans were too young and simple to matter. "We need to create the perfect warrior," Elena said. "Not a ship or a weapon. A living being that can think and adapt faster than the swarm." Council Leader Vorth's tentacles moved in confusion. "We have tried this before. The Crathari are our strongest fighters. The Zephyrians are the fastest. The Nexus beings are the smartest. None of them can beat the swarm." "That's because we're thinking too small," Elena replied. "What if we could combine the best parts of every species? Take the strength of the Crathari, the speed of the Zephyrians, the brains of the Nexus, and more. Make one perfect warrior." The room erupted in noise. Some aliens were excited. Others thought the idea was impossible. A few seemed angry. "The genetics would never work," said Dr. Zahn, a spider-like scientist. "Too many different DNA types." "The subject would die in days," Elena smiled. "Not if we use quantum neural programming. We can build the warrior cell by cell, gene by gene. Make everything work together." Commander Jake Sullivan stepped forward. He was Elena's human friend and the head of military research. "How long would this take? We don't have much time." 6 months, maybe 8, Elena said. "But we need the best samples from every major warrior species. And we need Research Station Omega. It has the only lab big enough for this project." Council Leader Vorth was quiet for a long moment. His tentacles moved slowly as he thought. Finally, he spoke. "Very well. You have permission for Project Genesis. But if this fails, we may not have another chance." 3 weeks later, Elena stood in the biggest laboratory she had ever seen. Research Station Omega was hidden in an empty part of space. The lab was the size of a football field. Strange machines hummed and beeped all around her. Commander Sullivan walked over with a data pad. "We have samples from 43 different species. The Crathari sent us their best warriors' DNA. The Zephyrians gave us genetic material from their fastest scout. Even the proud Nexus beings shared their neural patterns." Dr. Alex Thompson, the team's lead scientist, looked up from his work. "The quantum neural tanks are ready. We can start growing the first test subject tomorrow." Elena nodded, but she felt worried. The first few subjects had been disasters. Subject 1 died after 3 days. Subject 2 lived for a week, but couldn't move properly. Subject 3 could move, but couldn't think clearly. "What about the new genetic material?" Elena asked. "Did the collection teams find anything else?" Alex checked his notes. "There's one more sample. It just came in from a survey ship." Some primitive species from a planet called Earth. The collectors said the species wasn't very advanced, but they were tough survivors. Elena looked at the small tube of human DNA. She didn't know why, but something about it felt important. Add it to the mix. We need every advantage we can get. Are you sure? Alex asked. The reports say these humans are barely out of there. Stone Age. They fight with metal weapons and chemical explosives. Sometimes the best solutions come from unexpected places, Elena said. She thought about her own species. Humans had only discovered space travel 50 years ago. Yet here she was, leading the most important project in galactic history. The next morning, they began growing subject Alpha 7. Elena watched through the thick glass as the small form took shape in the glowing tank. At first, it looked like all the failed subjects. But something was different this time. The growth was stable. The genetic markers were strong. The neural patterns looked healthy and complex. It's working, Alex whispered. The human DNA seems to be acting like glue. It's holding all the other genetic material together. Elena smiled for the first time. In weeks, maybe, just maybe, they had found their ultimate warrior. She didn't know yet that they had found something much more important. They had accidentally discovered what made humans special in a galaxy full of advanced civilizations. Growing form in the tank would soon wake up, and when it did, everything would change. The tank's green liquid began to drain away. Elena Martinez watched with her heart beating fast. After 7 failed attempts, Subject Alpha 7 was finally ready to wake up. The figure inside the tank was tall and strong. His skin looked normal, like a human's, but Elena knew it was much tougher. His muscles were bigger than any normal person's. His hair was dark brown, and his face looked peaceful as he slept. All readings are normal, said Dr. Alex Thompson. He checked his machines. One more time. Brain activity is perfect. His body is stable. I think we actually did it. The tank opened with a soft hiss. The warrior's eyes opened slowly. They were blue, like Earth's sky. He looked around the room with curiosity, not fear. Hello, Elena said softly. Can you understand me? The warrior sat up in the tank. Water dripped from his hair. Yes, he said. His voice was deep but gentle. Where am I? What am I? Elena and Alex looked at each other with surprise. The other subjects had either been silent or screamed when they woke up. This one was asking questions. You're in a laboratory, Elena explained. You were created to be a warrior, to fight an enemy that threatens the galaxy. The warrior stepped out of the tank. He was 8 feet tall and moved with perfect balance. Created like a machine? No, not like a machine, Alex said. You're alive. You have thoughts and feelings. You're just enhanced. The warrior looked at his hands. He flexed his fingers and watched the muscles move. Enhanced how? Elena began to explain. You have the strength of the Crathuri warriors, the speed of the Zephyrian scouts, the intelligence of the Nexus beings, plus genetic material from dozens of other species. And humans, the warrior added. I can feel it. Something in me feels ... human. Elena was surprised. How can you tell? The warrior smiled. It was a warm, friendly smile that made Elena feel comfortable. I don't know. I just know. What should I call myself? Alex looked at his clipboard. Your designation is Subject Alpha 7. The warrior shook his head. No, that sounds cold. I want a real name. He thought for a moment. Ryan. I like the name Ryan. Dr. Lisa Carter entered the lab. She was the team's behavioral specialist. Her job was to study how Ryan acted and thought. Hello, Ryan. I'm Lisa. I'm here to help you learn about the world. Ryan nodded politely. Nice to meet you, Lisa. Can you tell me about this enemy I'm supposed to fight? Lisa was amazed. Previous subjects had been focused on fighting and destroying. Ryan seemed more interested in understanding. They're called the Void Swarm, Lisa explained. They're machines that consume everything in their path. They've destroyed 12 star systems. Ryan's face became serious. That's terrible. All those people who died. He paused. But why do they do it? What do they want? Lisa had never thought about that question. We don't know. They just attack and destroy. Maybe they have a reason, Ryan said. Maybe they're not evil, just desperate. Alex almost dropped his clipboard. You want to understand the enemy that's trying to kill us all? Ryan looked confused by their surprise. Of course. How can you solve a problem if you don't understand it? Over the next few weeks, Ryan's training began. In the physical tests, he was incredible. He could lift a car over his head. He could run faster than a speeding vehicle. When they shot energy weapons at him, his skin absorbed the blasts without damage. But it was his mind that really amazed the scientists. Ryan learned new fighting styles in minutes. He solved complex puzzles that took other species hours to figure out. He even created new battle tactics that no one had ever thought of. Look at this, Lisa said to Elena. She showed her a video of Ryan's latest test. We put him in a room with 10 combat robots. He was supposed to destroy them all. Elena watched the video. Ryan moved like water, flowing around the robots' attacks. But instead of destroying them, he found their control panels and turned them off. He disabled them without causing permanent damage, Lisa continued. When we asked why, he said destroying them was wasteful. He wanted to reprogram them to help people instead. Elena frowned. That's not what a warrior should do. That's what I thought too, Lisa said. But then I realized something. Ryan won that fight without getting hurt and without wasting resources. Isn't that better than just smashing everything? During their daily talks, Ryan asked Lisa many questions about the galaxy. He wanted to know about different planets and cultures. He was especially curious about Earth and humans. Tell me about human history, Ryan said one day. They were sitting in the station's observation deck, looking out at the stars. It's not very pretty, Lisa admitted. Humans fought many wars. They hurt each other and damaged their planet. Ryan nodded thoughtfully. But they also learned from their mistakes, right? They found ways to make peace with their enemies? Sometimes, Lisa said. Not always, but sometimes. That gives me hope, Ryan said. If humans can learn to make peace, maybe the Void Swarm can too. Lisa stared at him. You really think there's a peaceful solution to this war? Ryan looked out at the stars. I think every problem has a solution. You just have to be creative enough to find it. Elena watched all of this from her office. The reports showed that Ryan was everything they had hoped for. He was strong, fast, smart, and nearly indestructible. But she was worried about his attitude. He's too soft, Commander Sullivan said during one meeting. A warrior should want to destroy his enemies, not understand them. Maybe, Elena said. But look at his test. Scores. He wins every battle, and he does it with less violence than any other method. Dr. Thompson looked up from his genetic reports. I'm seeing something strange in the DNA analysis. The human genetic material isn't just helping the other genes work. Together, it's becoming dominant. What does that mean? Elena asked. It means Ryan is becoming more human, not less, Thompson explained. His thought patterns, his moral choices, even his curiosity about others, it's all very human. Elena felt a chill run down her spine. They had wanted to create the ultimate warrior. Instead, they might have created the ultimate human. She wasn't sure if that was good or bad. Outside, Ryan continued his training. He was ready for real combat. But Elena wondered if the galaxy was ready for Ryan. The emergency alarm shattered the peaceful morning on Research Station Omega. Elena Martinez ran to the command center, where Commander Jake Sullivan was staring at a wall of red warning lights. "The Void Swarm just hit New Geneva," Sullivan said. Grimly, 3 million people on the colony worlds. The local defense fleet is already gone. Elena felt sick. New Geneva was close to Earth. If the swarm wasn't stopped there, they would reach human space within weeks. "How long do we have?" she asked. 6 hours before they start consuming the main planet, Sullivan replied. "The Council is sending everything." "They have, but double quotes." He didn't finish the sentence. They both knew it wouldn't be enough. Elena made a decision that would change everything. "Send Ryan." Sullivan looked shocked. He's never been in real combat. This would be his first mission. "Then it's time to see if our ultimate warrior actually works," Elena said. 1 hour later, Ryan stood in the transport ship's loading bay. He wore simple black armor that fit his enhanced body perfectly. Captain Steve Rogers, a veteran human soldier, briefed him on the mission. "We're going in with 20 of the best fighters from different worlds," Rogers explained. "Our job is to buy time for the civilians to escape." Ryan nodded, but his mind was on the people who were about to die. "How many civilians are down there?" "About 50,000 still trapped in the capital city," Rogers said. "The evacuation ships can't get through the swarm's energy barriers." "Then we need to bring down those barriers," Ryan said simply. When they reached New Geneva, the sight was horrible. The beautiful blue planet was covered in dark metal clouds. Void swarm ships moved like hungry insects, tearing apart buildings and consuming everything. "My God," whispered Sergeant Kelly Barnes, one of the human soldiers. "Look." At them all, there were thousands of swarm ships. Each one was the size of a city block. They moved together in perfect formation, never bumping into each other, never making mistakes. "How are we supposed to fight that?" asked Corporal Mike Davis. Ryan studied the enemy carefully. "They move like a single mind," he said. "That's their strength, but it might also be their weakness." The team landed on the planet's surface. The city around them was half destroyed. Buildings burned, and the air smelled like smoke and metal. In the distance, they could see the energy barriers that trapped the civilians. "Alpha team, move to the east barrier," Captain Rogers ordered. "Beta team takes the west. Ryan, you're with me on the central barrier." But Ryan wasn't listening to the plan. He was watching the swarm ships above them. They moved in patterns, like a dance. Each pattern had a purpose. "Wait," Ryan said. "I think I see something." A group of swarm fighters dove toward them. Each ship was sleek and black, with red lights that pulsed like a heartbeat. The team took cover behind broken concrete. The other soldiers opened fire with their plasma rifles. The energy bolts hit the swarm ships, but barely scratched them. The ships fired back with beams of purple light that melted through their cover. "We need to fall back," Rogers shouted, but Ryan stepped into the open. A swarm ship fired at him. The purple beam hit his chest and spread across his skin like water. He didn't even flinch. "Impossible," Sergeant Barnes whispered. Ryan jumped 30 feet into the air and grabbed the swarm ship. Instead of tearing it apart, he held it gently and looked for its communication array. "Hello," he said into the ship's speaker system. "Can you understand me?" The ship stopped fighting. For a moment, it just floated in Ryan's hands. Then a mechanical voice spoke. "Unknown bioform. Designation. Threat. Must destroy." "I don't want to destroy you," Ryan said calmly. "I want to talk. Why are you consuming this world?" The ship was quiet for several seconds. Then it spoke again. But the voice sounded different, less mechanical. Hunger. Always hunger. Must consume to survive. Ryan felt a spark of understanding. You're not evil. You're starving. Data unavailable. Survival priority override all other functions. Ryan gently set the ship down. What if I could help you find food that doesn't hurt people? The ship's lights flashed rapidly. Proposal unclear. Define. Help. Before Ryan could answer, more swarm ships arrived. But these ones didn't attack. They circled around Ryan and the first ship, listening to the conversation. Captain Rogers and his team watched in amazement. He's talking to them, Kelly whispered. Actually talking to them. Ryan spent 20 minutes explaining his idea to the swarm ships. He told them about uninhabited asteroid fields full of metal. He described dead planets with rich mineral cores. He painted a picture of the galaxy where the swarm could feed without killing. Proposal has merit, the lead ship finally said. But decision not ours. Must consult the core mind. Can you contact this core mind? Ryan asked. Negative. Core mind located in deep void, beyond current reach. Ryan thought for a moment. Then we need to find another way to stop the fighting. He looked up at the energy barriers holding the civilians. The barriers were created by 3 massive swarm ships positioned around the city. If I disable those barrier ships without destroying them, will you help evacuate the civilians? The swarm ships buzzed with electronic conversation. Finally, the lead ship answered. Acceptable compromise. Civilian bioforms, not optimal energy source anyway. What happened next amazed everyone. Watching, Ryan didn't smash through the swarm defenses. Instead, he worked with individual swarm ships to safely shut down the barriers. He climbed onto the barrier ships and found their power cores. But instead of destroying them, he carefully rerouted their energy to create safe corridors for the Chi. Evacuation ships, the swarm ships, helped guide the civilian transports to safety. They even provided escort protection against the few swarm units that hadn't gotten the message about the temporary peace in 4 hours. All 50,000 civilians were safely evacuated. Not a single person died after Ryan arrived on the planet. The most important moment came at the end. As Ryan prepared to leave, the lead swarm ship approached him one last time. Query, are all bioforms like you? Ryan smiled sadly. No, I'm different. I was created to fight you, but I think there might be a better way. Noted. Your bioform template ... Interesting. May request future communication? Anytime, Ryan said ... as they flew back to the research station. Captain Rogers shook his head in disbelief. I've been fighting for 20 years. I've never seen anything like that. He didn't just win the battle, Kelly added. He changed the rules of the war. But Ryan was quiet during the flight home. He was thinking about what the swarm ship had said. The hunger, the desperation, the fact that they were just trying to survive. When they arrived at the station, Elena was waiting for him. She had watched the entire mission through drone cameras. That was incredible, she said. But the Council is not happy. They wanted you to destroy the swarm, not negotiate with them. Ryan looked at her with those calm blue eyes. Elena, what if we've been fighting the wrong war? What if the swarm isn't our enemy, just another species trying to survive? Elena felt that chill again. Their ultimate warrior was asking questions that could change everything, and she wasn't sure the galaxy was ready for the answers. Dr. Lisa Carter stood at the edge of a wheat field on Earth. The golden grain moved in the wind like ocean waves. She had come to this small planet to understand why Ryan was so different from what they had expected. 3 months had passed since the battle at New Geneva. Ryan had fought 6 more battles against the Void Swarm. Each time, he found ways to minimize the damage and save lives. Each time, The council grew more frustrated with his methods. He's supposed to destroy the enemy, not make friends with them, Council Leader Vorth had said during the last meeting. We created a weapon, not a diplomat. But Lisa had seen something in Ryan that the council missed. His way of thinking wasn't like other species. It was uniquely human. So she had convinced Elena to let her visit Earth and study baseline humans. She walked through the small farming town of Cedar Falls. The people here didn't know about the war in space. They lived simple lives, growing food and raising families. But Lisa watched them carefully, looking for clues at the local diner. She overheard two farmers arguing about water rights. The Miller farm has been stealing water from the creek, said one farmer, Bill Thompson. We should report them to the sheriff. The other farmer, Dave Wilson, shook his head. Maybe we should talk to them first. Find out why they need so much water. Could be their cattle are sick or something. Lisa leaned forward, interested. Dave was showing the same thinking pattern as Ryan. Instead of fighting first, he wanted to understand the problem. What if they don't want to talk? Bill asked. Dave smiled. Then we'll figure something else out. There's always another way if you look hard enough. Lisa spent 2 weeks in Cedar Falls. She watched humans solve problems in ways that amazed her. When the school needed repairs but had no money, the whole town worked together to fix it. When old Mrs. Peterson couldn't afford her medicine, her neighbors quietly helped pay for it. But it wasn't just kindness that impressed Lisa. It was how humans thought about problems. They asked why, instead of just how. They looked for solutions that helped everyone, not just themselves. Meanwhile, back in space, Ryan was having his own crisis of conscience. He stood in the command center of Research Station Omega, looking at a hologram of the Void Swarm's latest target. It was a nursery ship, a massive vessel containing millions of sleeping swarm offspring. This is our chance, Commander Sullivan explained. Intelligence says the ship has minimal defenses. If we destroy it, we eliminate the next generation of swarm fighters. Elena nodded. It's a strategic target. One strike could end the war. Ryan stared at the hologram. Inside that ship were millions of unborn beings. They had never hurt anyone. They were just children waiting to be born. No, Ryan said quietly. What did you say? Sullivan asked. Ryan turned to face the room full of scientists and military officers. I said no. I won't kill children, even if they're swarm children. The room erupted in angry voices. They're not children. They're weapons. Someone shouted, "This is war!" Yelled another. But Ryan remained calm. If we kill them, how are we different from the monsters we claim to be fighting? Elena stepped forward. Ryan, you were created to follow orders. This is a direct command. From the Galactic Council. Ryan looked at her with sad eyes. Elena, you gave me intelligence and free will. You can't be surprised when I use them. We can deactivate you, Sullivan threatened. Ryan smiled that warm, human smile. You could try, but I don't think it would work. And even if it did, would that make you proud? Creating life just to destroy it when it disagrees with you? Elena felt a chill. Ryan was right. The human genetic material had given him something they hadn't planned for, a conscience. What do you want to do instead? She asked. I want to contact the swarm nursery ship, Ryan said. I want to talk to them. Maybe we can find a way to relocate them somewhere safe. Sullivan laughed bitterly. Talk to baby monsters? Ryan's expression became firm. Every life has value, even swarm life. If we forget that, we become the very thing we're fighting against. That night, Ryan made a decision that shocked everyone. He took a small ship and left the research station without permission. His destination, the human colonies near Earth, watched him go with mixed feelings. Part of her was proud of him for standing up for his beliefs. Part of her was terrified of what the council would do when they found out. Ryan's first stop was the human colony of New Hope. It was a small settlement on a planet 20 light years from Earth. The colonists were surprised to see him. "You're the ultimate warrior," said colony leader Beth Wilson. "What are you doing here?" Ryan sat down with Beth and her council. He told them about the war, about the Void Swarm, and about his growing belief that there had to be a better way. "The Galactic Council wants me to destroy a ship full of children," Ryan said. "I can't do it, but I don't know what to do instead." Beth was quiet for a long moment. She was a middle-aged woman with gray hair and kind eyes. She reminded Ryan of the mother he never had. "Tell me about these swarm beings," she said finally. "What do they want?" Ryan explained about the hunger, the desperation, the fact that the swarm seemed to be refugees from somewhere else. "Sounds like they need a new home," Beth said. "Somewhere they can survive without hurting others." "But where?" Ryan asked. "Every inhabitable world is already claimed," Beth smiled. "Maybe they don't need an inhabitable world. Humans have learned to live in space stations, on airless moons, in places other species can't survive. Maybe the swarm could do the same." Ryan felt a spark of hope. "You mean build them their own worlds?" "Why not?" Beth said. "There are millions of dead planets out there. Asteroid fields full of metal. Empty solar systems with plenty of space. If the swarm are really just trying to survive, maybe we can help them do it without war." Ryan spent 3 days on New Hope, learning about human history. Beth showed him records of Earth's wars and how they ended. She told him about enemies who became friends, about conflicts that were solved through understanding instead of violence. "Humans make mistakes," Beth admitted. "We fight when we should talk. We destroy when we should build. But we also learn. We find ways to forgive and start over." "The council thinks I'm broken," Ryan said. "They say I'm too soft to be a warrior." Beth laughed. "Ryan, you've won every battle you've fought. You've saved thousands of lives. And you've done it all without becoming a monster. How is that broken?" When Ryan returned to the research station, he found Elena waiting for him. She looked tired and worried. "The council is furious," she said. "They want to shut down the project and create a new warrior, one that follows orders without question." Ryan nodded sadly. "I understand. I'm not what you wanted me to be." Elena looked at this being she had helped create. He was strong enough to lift a spaceship, smart enough to outwit any enemy, fast enough to dodge energy weapons. But more than that, he had something that no other species in the galaxy seemed to possess: the ability to see enemies as people who could be saved instead of problems to be destroyed. "Maybe," Elena said quietly, "we got exactly what we needed, even if we didn't know it at the time." The next day, Ryan made his choice. He would contact the swarm nursery ship, with or without permission. He would try to find a peaceful solution, even if it cost him everything, because that's what humans do. They hope when hope seems impossible. They try to save everyone, even their enemies. And they never stop believing that there's always a better way, if you're brave enough to look for it. Ryan floated in space near the massive Void Swarm nursery ship. His enhanced body didn't need air or protection from the cold vacuum. Through his communication device, he had been talking to the ship's artificial intelligence for 2 hours. "Please," Ryan said for the 10th time, "I just want to help. Let me speak to someone in charge." The ship was enormous, the size of a small moon. Its black surface was covered in strange symbols that pulsed with soft blue light. Inside, Ryan knew, were millions of dormant swarm beings waiting to be born. Finally, a different voice answered. Him. This one sounded older, more tired than the others he had spoken to. "I am Core Mind Nexus 7, the voice said. "I oversee this nursery vessel. You are the bioform that speaks of peace." "Yes," Ryan said. "I want to find a way for your people to survive without destroying others." "Others?" The voice seemed confused. "We do not think of consumed matter as others. Matter is simply matter. Energy to be harvested." Ryan felt a chill. "But the people living on those planets you consume. They have families, dreams, children of their own." There was a long silence. When the core mind spoke again, its voice was different, uncertain. "You speak of individual consciousness we had not considered. Are you saying the bioforms we consume are like us? That they think and feel?" "Yes," Ryan said gently. "Every being you've killed was someone's child, parent, or friend. They felt fear when you came. They felt pain when they died." The silence lasted for 10 minutes. Ryan waited patiently, floating in space, watching the lights on the nursery ship flicker and change patterns. "This is disturbing information," the core mind finally said. "We flee from the dying of our home reality. We consume to survive. We did not know we caused suffering to conscious beings." "It's not too late to change," Ryan said. "I have an idea that could help your people survive without hurting anyone." Back on Research Station Omega, Elena Martinez watched the conversation through long-range sensors. The entire Galactic Council was gathered in the command center, listening to every word. "He's actually communicating with them," Dr. Alex Thompson whispered in amazement. Council leader Vorth's tentacles writhed with anger. He should be destroying that ship, not having philosophical discussions with it. Elena ignored Vorth and focused on the conversation. This was the moment that would decide the future of the galaxy. "Tell me your idea," the core mind said to Ryan. Ryan took a deep breath and began to explain. "There are thousands of dead solar systems in this galaxy, worlds with no life but plenty of metal and energy. What if we helped you build new homes there? Space habitats designed specifically for your people? You would help us, even though we have caused death to your allies? Everyone deserves a chance to start over," Ryan said. "Humans learned that lesson long ago. We used to fight terrible wars with each other, but we found ways to make peace and work together." Dr. Lisa Carter, who had returned from Earth the day before, stepped forward. "He's using human moral reasoning," she told Elena. "The idea that enemies can become friends. That redemption is always possible." On her computer screen, Lisa had the final genetic analysis she had been working on. The truth it revealed was stunning. The core mind asked Ryan to wait while it consulted with other swarm leaders. During the break, Elena called Lisa over. "What did you find on Earth?" Elena asked. Lisa showed her the genetic analysis. "Elena, we made a terrible mistake. Or maybe a wonderful one, depending on how you look at it." "What do you mean?" "The human genetic material didn't just stabilize Ryan's other genes," Lisa explained. "It overwrote them. Every enhancement we thought we were giving him from other species, the strength, the speed, the intelligence, it all came from human potential." Elena stared at the data. "That's impossible. Humans are one of the least advanced species in the galaxy." "Physically, yes," Lisa said. "But genetically? Humans have more untapped potential than any species we've ever studied. Their bodies can adapt to almost anything. Their minds can solve problems that stump our most advanced computers. And their capacity for empathy and moral reasoning is unique. In the galaxy," Elena felt dizzy. "So Ryan isn't the ultimate warrior we created. He's just a human operating at full potential." "Exactly. And there's more. I ran comparisons with baseline humans on Earth. Rian's personality, his problem-solving methods, his moral choices, they're all typically human. We just enhanced the physical capabilities that were already there." Meanwhile, Ryan received an Answer from the core mind. Our leadership council has discussed your proposal. We find it ... intriguing, but how can we trust you? Your people have shown us only hostility. Because I'm asking you to trust me, Ryan said simply. One person's word to another. Sometimes that's all we have. Another long pause. Then, very. Well, we will attempt this peace you speak of. But we will need proof that safe territories exist. Ryan smiled. I know just the place to start. 6 months later, Ryan stood on the observation deck of New Hope Colony with Beth Wilson. Through the transparent aluminum window, they could see something that amazed the galaxy. 3 Void Swarm construction ships worked alongside human engineers to build a massive space habitat around a dead star. The habitat would house 1 million swarm beings and provide them with all the energy they needed without consuming any living worlds. It's working, Beth said with wonder. They're actually working together. Ryan nodded. The swarm are excellent builders. They just needed someone to show them how to build instead of destroy. Behind them, Elena Martinez approached with a datapad. The council has finally agreed to make this official policy, she said. Project Genesis is being renamed Project Harmony. Instead of creating ultimate warriors, we're creating ultimate diplomats. Are you disappointed? Ryan asked her. I'm not what you intended to make. Elena smiled. Ryan, when we started this project, I thought the ultimate warrior would be someone who could destroy any enemy. But you've shown us something better. The ultimate warrior is someone who can turn enemies into friends. Dr. Lisa Carter joined them at the window. The genetic analysis is complete, she announced. The council wants to know if we can replicate Ryan's abilities in other subjects. And, Elena asked. We can, Lisa said. But not the way we thought. We don't need to combine genetic material from dozens of species. We just need to unlock the potential that already exists in human DNA. Ryan looked out at the construction project, where former enemies worked side by side to build something beautiful. So what does this mean for humanity? Elena followed his gaze. It means the galaxy is about to discover that the species they thought was primitive and unimportant might actually be the teachers they've been looking for. Beth Wilson smiled. Humans have always been good at making friends out of enemies. We've had plenty of practice. The swarm have agreed to help us contact their home reality, Ryan added. There might be other refugee species out there who need help. Other enemies who are just people trying to survive. Lisa checked her reports. 3 more species have requested Ryan's help with their conflicts. The Zathare want him to mediate their civil war. The copper mines are asking for assistance with their resource disputes. Looks like you're going to be busy, Elena said to Ryan. Ryan grinned that warm human smile. Good. I like being busy. And I like helping people solve problems without fighting. As they watched, a group of young swarm beings emerged from their nursery ship for the first time. They had been born in peace instead of war. They moved through space with joy, dancing around the construction ships like children playing. They're beautiful, Beth whispered. Ryan nodded. All children are beautiful when they're given a chance to grow up in peace. Elena thought about the long journey that had brought them here. They had set out to create the ultimate weapon. Instead, they had discovered the ultimate truth, that the real strength wasn't in the ability to destroy enemies, but in the wisdom to help them become friends. And that wisdom, it turned out, was the most human thing of all. The galaxy was changing. Species that had been isolated for millions of years were learning to work together. Old conflicts were being resolved through understanding instead of violence. And at the center of it all was Ryan, showing everyone that there was always another way if you were brave enough to look for it. The ultimate warrior had turned out to be something much better, the ultimate human being. In the distance, more ships arrived. Not warships, but colony vessels and construction crews. Representatives from dozens of species. all coming to learn from the example being set at this remote star system. They came to see how enemies could become friends, how problems could be solved without violence, how the future could be built on hope instead of fear. They came to learn what it meant to be human.